Right now, if you need to use the bathroom, it's probably only a few steps away. You walk inside, close the door, use the toilet, flush, wash your hands, and within a minute, you've already forgotten about it. But imagine living 50,000 years ago. No bathrooms, no plumbing, no sewer systems, no toilet paper, not even a permanent home. You're sleeping in a temporary camp, surrounded by wild animals, with only a small group of people you trust. Then suddenly, nature calls. What do? Go too close to camp, and you could contaminate the place where everyone eats and sleeps. Go too close to water, and you might make the entire group sick. Walk too far away, and you could run into a predator. It sounds like an awkward question today, but for ancient humans, going to the bathroom was part of survival. For most of human history, people were hunter-gatherers. They didn't live permanently in one place. They moved through the landscape, following animals, seasonal plants, and reliable water sources. A campsite might only be used for a few days, or perhaps a few weeks, before the group moved somewhere else. That gave them an important advantage. Waste didn't have enough time to build up. Once the group left, sunlight, rain, insects, and microorganisms in the soil slowly broke it down. But movement wasn't enough. Ancient humans also needed to think about where they left their waste. They didn't know what bacteria were, they had never heard of viruses, and they couldn't see microscopic parasites, but they could notice patterns. If waste collected near camp, people became sick. If drinking water became contaminated, even more people became sick. And when several members of a small group became ill, the consequences could be serious. They couldn't hunt properly, they couldn't travel safely, and they couldn't protect the group. Over thousands of generations, humans learned through experience. Keep waste away from sleeping areas. Keep it away from food. And, most importantly, keep it away from water. Nobody had to write these rules down. Groups that followed safer habits were simply more likely to survive. Some of our strongest clues come from something surprisingly unpleasant: fossilized human feces. They're called coprolites, and although they don't look impressive, they can preserve thousands of years of information. Inside them, scientists have discovered seeds, pollen, plant fibers, tiny animal bones, and parasite eggs. From these remains, researchers can reconstruct ancient diets, diseases, and even seasonal movements. Something you flush away without thinking today can reveal how people lived thousands of years ago. Coprolites also show that ancient humans carried many parasites. Worms and other infections could spread when waste contaminated food or water. So bathroom habits weren't only about privacy. They were about controlling disease. Prehistoric camps may have been divided into different activity areas. One place for sleeping, another for cooking, another for making tools. And waste was probably kept outside the main living space whenever possible. There was also another danger: predators. Many large carnivores have an incredible sense of smell. Leaving strong human scents near camp could reveal exactly where a group was sleeping. So moving away from the camp may have helped with more than cleanliness. It may also have reduced unwanted attention. Then, around 12,000 years ago, human life began to change. People started building permanent settlements. Instead of leaving after a few weeks, families stayed in the same place, year after year. Food could be stored, homes became stronger, populations grew, but permanent villages created a new problem. Human waste was no longer being left behind. It stayed, day after day, month after month. As settlements became more crowded, nature could no longer break it down quickly enough. Waste pits filled up, flies moved between waste and food. Water sources became contaminated, and parasites spread from person to person. The same settlements that made civilization possible also created perfect conditions for disease. So humans began developing new solutions. They dug pits, built simple latrines, created drainage channels, and started separating dirty water from clean water. These systems were primitive, but they represented a major change. Humans were no longer relying only on distance. They were beginning to engineer sanitation. One of the most impressive examples appeared in the Indus Valley civilization around 4,500 years ago. Cities such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa had carefully planned drainage systems. Many homes contained washing areas, and some had toilet-like spaces connected to brick-lined drains. Wastewater moved from houses into covered channels beneath the streets. Think about that. Thousands of years before modern medicine, people were already building urban drainage networks. They didn't understand germ theory, but they understood that dirty water needed to be carried away. Later, the ancient Romans built large public latrines. People sat side by side, on stone benches with openings cut into them. Running water beneath the seats carried waste away. There were no private stalls. Using the bathroom could actually be a social activity. People talked, shared news, and discussed business. The Romans also used a sponge attached to a stick for cleaning. It was rinsed in water and may have been shared. So Roman sanitation looked advanced, but some of their hygiene habits would be horrifying today. And even their sewer systems didn't completely stop disease. Parasites remained common because real sanitation required more than toilets. It required clean water, closed pipes, waste treatment, hand washing, and, eventually, an understanding of microorganisms. But the basic idea had already begun. Hunter-gatherers used movement and distance. Early villages used pits and designated waste areas. Ancient cities built drains, latrines, and sewers. Every generation faced the same basic problem and solved it with the knowledge available to them. Today, you press a button and everything disappears. Your waste travels through pipes into a sewage system and eventually reaches a treatment facility. You don't see it, you don't smell it, and you rarely think about what happens next. But that ordinary flush represents thousands of years of human problem solving. Civilization wasn't built only by kings, armies, and monuments. It was also built by people solving small, uncomfortable, everyday problems. Finding clean water, protecting food, and deciding where everyone should go when nature calls. So the next time you walk into a bathroom, remember this. For almost all of human history, there were no tiled floors, no toilet paper, no plumbing, and no flush button. There were only people watching what worked, learning from what went wrong, and passing that knowledge to the next generation. The modern toilet may not look like one of humanity's greatest inventions, but without sanitation, large cities couldn't survive, and modern civilization couldn't exist the way it does today.